Hi friends, I'm back again. Hi. So I just want to share with you a couple of more things that I had to share. One was a, a prayer time that I had there recently, and the other one was then a dream that I also had, which is really a very interesting kind of symbolic dream. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead straight away and just read about the prayer time that I had. So basically, it was on Tuesday, the 10th of April 2019. And I'll just go ahead. It's in my journal, so I'm just going to read it from my journal. So, praying this morning, I saw that God was very high and lifted up, very high into the heavens. My sense was it was the Father himself on the throne. In his hand was a tall sceptre. It was made of silver, and it had kind of like a ball on the top of it or something, but I didn't see the detail because it was like I was seeing the Lord very, very far away. It was like really, really high, lifted up, and like on the high in the highest heavens on his throne. And so that's kind of what I was seeing. I was very aware of his holiness and his mighty power. In particular, the authority that came with him was very strong in the dream, in the vision or whatever that I was having. So I was aware of his distance away from us. And then I saw like a globe appear, about the size of a handball, and it was kind of like I was looking at the globe from his perspective, you could say. Um, and I saw God take the scepter, and he was striking the earth in different places. I knew he was delivering judgment with his scepter. I saw lightning proceed from it. I was praying and I was crying that in judgment, I knew judgment. God was bringing judgment to the places that he hit. So I was praying that in judgment, God would have mercy. I reminded him that mankind was hopeless without him and that Satan would show no mercy. I saw him strike the earth. Sorry, just interrupted by my beloved daughter. I reminded God that mankind was hopeless without him and that Satan would show no mercy. I saw him strike the earth a few times in different places, like different countries or whatever on the globe, but I didn't see where. I knew that we were corrupt before a holy God. Truly, we have no idea of our corruption against a holy, unblemished God. And in fact, when I began to see the picture of God on his throne, I immediately was repenting for my own sin. I was just really repenting. So he showed me mankind is already condemned by simply the lack of the presence of God. The fact that God had already removed himself and his glory from us was the condemnation already. So God removed the glory that was upon us in distance and separated himself from us. We return by our born-again spirit, but he is very high and lifted up, far, far into the heavens. He is exceedingly powerful and exceedingly holy and incorruptible. And I knew that saying in the Bible where it says that we couldn't behold his face because if we did, we would die in our corruption. And I knew that to be true. I became aware that we cannot, I've written it here, we cannot look upon the Father because of our corruption. We would be consumed in the holiness of his presence and his brilliant light. So that was what I saw when I was praying there. And then on the 11th of April, I've recorded here a dream that I had as well. So this was quite an unusual dream, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of symbolism and stuff in it. So anyway, I woke up in the night last night and I was reading the scriptures. Now, I was kind of restless up until that point. Wasn't really sleeping properly, but when I returned to sleep, I had a dream. So I was in a plane with others, and as a Christian, myself and other Christians were discussing upcoming prophetic events. And now there was a lot of unbelievers in the plane, and they were just thinking, oh, the kind of cranks are at it again, discussing what we were discussing, okay? So they didn't believe what we were talking about, but we were discussing prophetic events. Then suddenly in the plane, it felt like we entered a Twilight Zone. It was very strange, and when this happened, when we were entered this Twilight Zone, it was like everybody in the plane knew it, sensed it. Everybody went silent. Nobody would hush or say a word. Everyone was a bit freaked out what was going on because we didn't know what was happening. So that was the feeling of it, right? So it lasted about 10 minutes or so, and many people began to see and feel things. So basically, like, we were looking at the window and then people were seeing things and you could hear them commenting. So I looked out the window and I saw unusual things. I saw like a constellation of stars that was very, very unusual. It was like kind of a constellation, like a triangle on top of a square or something in stars, but it was just not a normal constellation. And then I saw helicopters that was like child's drawings, and they were as I was looking at the plane, I just saw all these, like, there's quite a few of them, these helicopters that were done in child's drawings. And then I heard someone else say, oh, look, I see gold lettering. I see gold lettering. It's like they could see the floor, the ground. And this was what another person was saying. So, yes, many people were seeing unusual things. Everyone in the plane was shocked by this because everyone now sensed something was up. Non-believers were really terrified. They were really scared. And I remember turning to a gentleman, like when that Twilight Zone kind of finished after the 10 minutes, and I looked at him and I said, what did you think of that? And he was too scared to talk about it. He was like, he believed, but he was afraid to say anything. So they acknowledged it, but they were afraid to talk about it. Now, as we landed, that twilight atmosphere came back to a normal atmosphere. We exited the plane, but we were still on high alert. Everyone was really affected by this. And then we heard two loud booms coming under the ground. Now, people thought it was war breaking out, but it wasn't. Just then, a few men came over a hill. So we were getting off the plane. We landed like in a field. And just then, like a group of men were coming over a hill, and they had a man in front of them. He was in tow. So I ran after them, and I knew that with this young man that they were kind of holding hostage, they were pushing him forward, these men, that he hadn't got a gun license for hunting, right, for just normal shooting, right. So they were accusing him of not having a gun license. Then they poured petrol over him, and this was in front of now a gathered crowd, a small crowd, and they set him on fire. And then I heard this voice came out of nowhere. It didn't come out of any person that was in front of me. This just came out really loud and clear in my dream. Obama bin Laden. And then I woke up. And so I just want to give you a few thoughts on this dream, and then if you have anything to add to it, I know one of my friends gave me something that I didn't think about as well. If you have anything to add to it, it would be really good to hear what you say. So basically, what I felt was that with the Twilight Zone, I felt that something's going to happen, something that nobody can deny. Both unbelievers and believers will not be able to deny this event. So some big event is going to happen. I don't know what it is. I felt like the constellations and the stars in the sky were just signs, like in the scriptures where God says, I will send signs in the sky, in the heavens. So with the constellations, I just felt that was just part of the kind of the signs. Now, I don't know if it's the signs that have gone past already. You know, like we've had that, thinking about it actually, that unusual, the revelation sign. I didn't think of that. That just came to my head actually just as I was saying this to you. So that's kind of funny because that's the first time I even thought of that. So that's possibly what it could be, thinking about it now. The helicopters I couldn't figure, but I shared it with a friend of mine and she came out with a very good thing. She said that sounds like it could, because it was children, maybe it's got to do with the abortion issue. And I said, gosh, that's interesting. It could be. The helicopters themselves could indicate civil war, or world war. I don't know. I wasn't sure about that. And then someone mentioned the gold letters. I don't know what the gold letters mean because she didn't actually say what letters they were or anything like that. So yeah, and then when we exited the plane, okay, the plane for me was society. That was kind of clear for me. That's what I believe it was, society, because you had the majority was unbelievers. There was some Christians, and it represented the time that we're in because the Christians were talking about the prophetic times. So that's what I felt. So then when we got out of the plane and those group of men that set that poor man on fire, I felt like the laws had been altered. You know, that's what I was feeling, that the laws had been altered and this kind of, you know, awful kind of situation was almost allowed and acceptable. It wasn't pleasant. I don't think anyone was happy about it, but it was like, it was allowed, you know, it was allowed. And then, so something had changed. And then, of course, me hearing Obama, Ben Laden so loud and clear. I mean, it was so loud and clear. Like, that was the biggest message in the dream. It was bang, you know, Obama, Ben Laden. It was just like this big voice just said it. So instantly I knew, oh my gosh, Obama is the next Bin Laden. That was evident to me, which means that Obama is, you know, has a huge leadership role then with regards to the Muslims and stuff. I don't know if it was indicating that he's the Antichrist, even though you know, I know a lot of people have say that he is. It's very possible. He's the second time I've definitely that I've had in, you know, think God speaking to me about Obama, so I wouldn't be shocked by that. Yeah, so that was my two things. I won't go on too long, but so yeah, give me your feedback. I would really love to have your feedback, especially with the symbolism. I know there's a lot of symbolism in that. So if you have any more, please let me know. I also know before I had this dream, or in the night at some point, I also had, I know I visited somewhere in heaven. I know that I did because I could feel the glory in my heart burning, even when I woke up. But I didn't, it was like God wiped it out of my mind. So I don't know, but I just knew there was wonderful things in the depths of heaven, but I didn't remember it when I woke up. So guys, thank you so much. Hope to speak to you very soon. I'll come back on when the Lord gives me any more. And stay blessed and stay close to God. Bye.